How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Lisa Cabrera, for the link. I'm going to do my best with this. So anyway, my royal family, this is thing 1 and thing 2. Anyway, it don't matter the order. However, you can switch it up if you want. So thing 1 and thing 2 is ready to bounce from thing 3. I guess they can't handle the heat. Or maybe it's the lies that they tell daily. Nah, that's part of their nature. But for some reason, thing 1 and thing 2 is ready to bounce in the near future. Could you imagine working for thing 3? I think I had that wrong, family. This is thing 1. Sarah, we know she thing 2. Now this dude, you can flip it if you want. But anyway, my royal family, let's see what's really going on.
News has learned White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah are planning their exits. CBS News White House reporter Jacqueline Alemany broke the news, and she joins me now from Washington. So, Jackie, I know you've been talking to your sources. What have they been telling you?
Hey, Elaine. So we have several sources inside and out of the administration and friends, sources close to Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Raj Shah, who have confirmed to us that the two of them are both eyeing their potential exits from the White House. Their exits are not imminent. Sarah Sanders is potentially leaving by the end of the year, and Raj Shah has no time frame set, but it is notable in a White House that has already experienced tons of upheaval that two of their most high-profile faces are, considering leaving Trump's administration. But to give them credit here, they have been at the White House since the very start, and leaving the White House after 2 years is not unprecedented. It is pretty much standard operating procedures in past administrations. But I think what is really noticeable here is the overall turnover rate, which is actually at an all-time high of 51%. That means half of the White House, according to a study done by Brookings, has already left the White House, which causes, even more broadly speaking, bigger problems for this White House.
Well, and Jackie, you asked the White House for comment. What did officials say?
We did not immediately hear a response back. I have heard from Raj Shah and Sarah Sanders since, and they both declined to comment.
Well, what would these departures mean for the White House, given what you just laid out, the fact that there's already been a tremendous amount of a revolving door, you might say, when it comes to the Trump administration's West Wing?
Yeah, so I think these departures, what they represent is, number one, the loss of one of Trump's closest confidants. Sarah Huckabee Sanders has developed a very close relationship with the president since the departure of his former communications director, Hope Hicks. He's come to depend on her, and she gets out there and she battles with the press every day for him. And he values that, and she does a good job at it, and she has been able to withstand the criticism that you saw at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, criticism at a very intense level, and Trump appreciates her for that, and he's going to miss having her go to bat for him. But then, when you think about other communications team departures, what that is really emblematic of is this overall shift that we're seeing in the Trump White House, which is trimming down of the communications team that in the view of many, hasn't been all that effective to begin with. As one former White House staffer put it to me, how much worse can the press get, right? So it's unclear, who exactly is going to fill these, some of these open positions. But what I have been told is that overall, the communications team is going to slim down.
Interesting. Well, tell us about the timing here, which I understand is still unclear, but the significance of Sarah Sanders potentially leaving before any possible bid for the president's re-election is really up and running.
Yeah, again, this is a tough job. You work 24 hours a day. She was just up, probably for an entire week in Singapore, dealing with the constant, just a president who makes news constantly. It is a grinding job, and she's already been in it for 2 years. And most of the people who started with her have already left the White House. There's only a few people still standing in the White House who started when he came into the administration last February. So, leaving after midterms is really not shouldn't come as a surprise. I imagine there will be, several other staffers leaving around that time as well.
Well, and what are you hearing from staffers about what a post-Huckabee Sanders White House might look like?
That is so far ahead of us still. We still have until it is 6 months away. But when Hope Hicks left the White House, there was a sense of this loss of a really important and uniting figure, someone who did really combat some of the morale problems, who tried to pick her fellow colleagues up. And I think Sarah has, tried to fill that void that Hope left. And so I wouldn't, I could foresee staffers who have developed close relationships with Sarah, feeling similarly.
I know there's nothing sort of officially being acknowledged just yet by either Sarah Sanders or Raj Shah. However, it wouldn't be Washington if I didn't ask the question. Any word on who might be the potential replacements for either Sanders or Shah?
No word on that. It's something I've batted around with as many sources as possible. And quite frankly, I think this speaks to another problem that this White House is going to face, which is a recruiting problem. It is fairly well known that the environment is considered pretty toxic by staffers, some who still are currently in that toxic environment, and per others who have left. And what one source told me, a source close to the administration, was that this White House has already gone through the first tier of staffers, which was already small to begin with, right? Because the president didn't want anyone who was anti-Trump, never Trump, to start in his administration in the first place. So that whittled it down to a small pool of eligible Republicans to come work for him to begin with. And now that they're on that second round of people trying to replace, people who have only been there for a year, maybe a few months, even honestly, that's going to be difficult. And what I've been told really is that what's going to suffer here is really the quality of people. It's going to be, how it's been described to me as third tier in terms of qualifications.
And Jackie, just one more time to be clear. So Sarah Sanders and Raj Shah have in fact responded to you by saying what exactly regarding these reports?
They have not had a response to CBS News specifically.
Okay. Jackie Alemany with that breaking news for us. Jackie, thank you.
All righty. So, thing 2 and 3 can't handle the heat. And then I heard the lady say something about qualified people. All you got to be is evil to the motherfucking core. That's all you got to be to play in Thing 1's sandpit. It's really his sandpit. Or it could be his playpen. These people, my royal family, even though I'm making light of it, are evil to the core. And they'll work in there just enough to fatten up their resume. And then they move on somewhere else being evil. See how I look at it? The longer you can hang in there, it shows how evil you really is. And we know Crooked Face, she been doing an excellent job. And this sand nigga right here, he do what he's told. I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what to say. But I know they spend a lot of money on Thing 2, because that's the best they could get that mug hooked up You got to remember, they use makeup. You know, they got an expense, a budget, excuse me, for thing 2. Now him and thing 3 are, yeah, it don't matter. But yeah, Huckabee, maybe it was hurting their pocket or something, you know. Maybe they pulled it to the side and said, you know, it requires a lot of work to deal with your mug, you know, and it's starting to affect the budget. I wonder what she looked like up under all that makeup. You know, they try their best. They try their best, but it just seemed like ugly just bleed through all that makeup. They use the finest stuff in the world, but ugly just bleed through. Oh, are y'all saying y'all gonna leave y'all balls? Wow, I can't imagine what it's like working in there. But they'll have some more deranged, lying to the core motherfuckers working in there. There's some evil ass people on this planet, so I don't know what the reporter was talking about as far as finding someone to fulfill those possessions. Oh, they got a boatload of people that can't wait to get in there. So anyway, my radio family, as I close out, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.